One.
Got it.
Hi. Okay, say your name and your age, and at what age you learned English as your second language.
My name is Marcio Paoli. I am 26, and I learned English as my second language when I was 7.
Okay, so when you were learning English, what was one of the most challenging parts about learning it as a child in your second language?
Um, I guess the fact, so when I started learning, I learned in ESL.
Mm-hmm.
So our first assignment, we got a list of 10 words in English, and so we had to learn how to spell them, what they meant in both English and whatever our native language was. And so I guess the fact that I didn't really know how to use a dictionary because I was so I was just kind of overwhelmed, and I was like, how am I supposed to learn a new language? Like I don't even know how to use a dictionary, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
I feel like
Um,
especially at that age, they don't even care mostly about you actually learning the language. It's more of things you have to remember and learn versus the
mhm,
actual understanding of language itself.
yeah.
But do you remember any specific strategies or lessons or activities your teacher did to help you learn or remember English?
I think just the fact that we were only allowed to speak English
Mm-hmm.
ESL class.
Oh, so they made
So
you learn it by like doing it.
yeah, so
Okay.
their whole thing was like, hey, you're not allowed to speak whatever language you speak. Like here in this classroom, you're only gonna speak English, and so you were just kind of thrown in the deep end because you needed to go to the bathroom. Like the only way you could go to the bathroom is hey,
What?
say it in English. If not, you know, out of luck.
That's actually so bad. You're not supposed to do that. Okay. Um, is
It
there
was it was back in the day though, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. This might help. This will be a piggybacker. Is there anything you wished that your teachers would have done differently or maybe they would have incorporated into the classroom?
No. So I'm the type of person that I learn throw me in the deep end and
Uh-huh.
have mess up, and then tell me you did this, this, and this wrong, and this is the way that it's right, and that's how I learn. So I feel like that's probably the best way for me to learn something
Yeah.
new. Down.
So it worked for you because you could deal with the criticism and with
Yeah,
the corrections. Okay.
for other people, but it worked for me.
Thank God you had enough confidence as a kid to be able, other kids would just shut down. Um, okay, so did you have to take state mandated tests like back then it was the tax test or anything like that?
Well, so I was lucky because when I got here, I was in second grade.
Uh-huh.
So you don't start tax tests till the third grade. Um, so in second grade, at the beginning when I didn't really know English, if it was a math test, it was fine because it's just numbers.
Yeah.
So I do math, but my other exams, they would have me go to the ESL class, and if I didn't know a word, they would translate it for me. That
Okay.
way, I could my exam. But then it got to a point where I think halfway through that semester because I picked it up pretty fast.
Yeah.
So halfway through that semester, they were just kind of like, "Oh, you're good to go." So I wouldn't go unless I was really just stuck and didn't understand, and they're like, "All right, go ask
Yeah.
for help," sort of thing.
So I'm just curious, whenever you would have to find words in the dictionary, were they like say it was a word like couch or something, would it have like the Spanish word and the English word next to it so you would know, or would you just have to look for the English word?
Well, so it's not like a regular dictionary, right?
Okay.
So it's like an English to Spanish
Okay.
dictionary. So the word, let's say it would be couch, right? So I would go to C and look for couch.
Mm-hmm.
Like right next to it, it will translate couch to
Oh,
Spanish
that's cool.
and would tell me right the definition for
Mm-hmm.
couch in Spanish. So I'm like, oh okay, this is like couch
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So whenever you were in third grade or fourth grade, whenever you did have to take the state exam, did you ever feel a little bit more insecure or like worried that you would struggle with the questions in the test because you didn't originally have that background, or did you ever feel like you were behind other students because of that?
No, uh,
Confident.
I I don't know. So like it really, and like I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything. So I learned English, and I'm not like perfectly right,
Yeah.
but like to the point where I was able to read and write and communicate with others. It took me that first semester, right? So
Smart kid.
school starts what in August
Yeah.
or September, right? And so once winter break, and what actually happened was I was in one school for that first semester, and then we moved to another school because we switched places where we lived. And so that second semester, I went to a different school, and they didn't have ESL, so I
Oh
was
my
just in a
gosh.
class, and like it was fine because I was able to communicate,
Yeah.
and like it wasn't perfect English, but then like
At
there's not
least
a
you were at an age where you're like 6 or 7, you don't have that expansive
yeah, like
vocabulary.
a seventh grader doesn't speak perfect English, so I was kind of like at that level with everybody else. And then once third grade happened, and then like the standardized test started coming, then like I felt more confident, and like
Yeah.
when it was math, math is numbers and they're the same everywhere, so math was just easy.
Easy, yeah.
And I don't know, I guess like I was just good at school, and like
You're a
it
smart
wasn't.
kid. You ate your veggies. What can you say? Okay, so I have to know. Do you know how to say couch in Spanish?
Yes,
What is
but depending on who you ask and how they speak Spanish, they have a different accent and a different word. So I'm from Argentina, so for us, couch is sillón.
Sishon.
But if you ask a Mexican, they might say something different, and like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
Kind of like
different
the
type.
same way like Texans would say words are different than people in like Minnesota would say something too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
For sofa.
like
So
soda and
wait, so are couch and sofa like the same thing too, or are they different?
yeah, they're all the
They're
same
the same
thing.
thing? Okay, so what subject in school, I guess maybe English, when you were learning English was the hardest for you?
Social studies.
Really? Oh, I can see that. Okay.
But not because of English, just because I don't like it.
Yeah.
So social studies was always my worst one, like worst one. But yeah, I never liked social studies, and like the whole like history thing. I hate all of that. So
It might have been a little bit harder too because you didn't have that same like picture in the back of your mind or like foundation that other kids might have had because you didn't have the same like area as other
yeah,
kids.
I hated social studies.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
teach
could do.
social studies, so that's funny. My kids love Texas history. It's like their favorite part of the day.
I hate all of that.
It's like story time for them. They don't even see it as history. They see it more of like, oh. Okay, last question. Did any of your teachers do anything to incorporate your language or culture into your learning?
Um, I don't think so. I think they try to make it like if fair is the correct word, but like obviously not everybody who didn't know English was a Spanish speaker.
Yeah.
So there were people in Asia and all around. So they can't just kind of like favorite one.
Uh-huh.
So I think it at a point where like everybody was the same, not speaking their language.
Okay.
Sort which I think was the correct thing to do, because if you can't please everybody, like I guess just limit everybody.
Yeah. The latter of the two, I guess.
Yeah, no, like they never did anything like special, but nobody ever felt discriminated, as in, oh, they favor this person over this person.
Yeah.
They were good about that.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good experience. But that's all the questions that I have for you.
I'm glad that
You
helped
did great. Ellen would be very impressed with you.
Let me know if you need anything else.